And she has a question. Does QuickBooks Online have any reports that are nonprofit specific? For example, a statement of financial position rather than a balance sheet. I can export to Excel and change the title, but it would be nice if I didn't have to do that. Yeah, I hear that. So the answer is yes, and you have to set it up when you're setting up the account, the QuickBooks Online account in the first place. You have to choose, every time you have an option to choose like the industry and whatever else, you have to choose nonprofit in order to get that in the menus. Now you can still, I'm going to offer you Plan B in a second, but that really has to be created when you create the file in the first place. Intuit swears up and down that it can't be done after the fact. I know people who have tried, and really probably the best you could do, and you'd really have to consider whether it's worth it, especially since there is a Plan B that exists, to open a new QuickBooks Online account and use some of the technologies out there to essentially transfer the old data to the new QuickBooks Online account. So you would have to decide if this is worth the time, effort, and potentially expense, or more so opportunity cost. The Plan B, however, is to change the report name. Can the report name not be changed in QuickBooks Online the same way that can be changed in QuickBooks Desktop? All of a sudden, I'm not seeing it in the top of my, I'm not visualizing that, but I'm thinking in the top area where you have the report controls. Could you not go into the area where you can customize what happens in the report and also change the report header right there in QuickBooks Online, and then save that report to that area in QuickBooks Online where you can save reports? That would be what I would try next. I'm so glad you asked. Thank you, Wendy. And as for other reports, by the way, so for example, the statement of functional expenses, you can run if you use class tracking in your QuickBooks Online file, which I strongly recommend for all nonprofits, you're going to use your class field for the functional expenses, which are administration, fundraising, and programs. And don't forget, starting in fiscal years ending after 12/15/18, the statement of functional expenses with those 3 columns of administration, fundraising, and support, not enough anymore. We also have to report, if you do GAAP reporting, you also have to report the functional expenses for your 3 largest major programs. So you're going to want to make subclasses of programs with your 3 major programs in there. That's something that we do for all of our nonprofit clientele anyhow, especially because at the beginning of the year, you don't know which one is going to turn out to be your major program. You may not know which 3 are going to turn out to be your major programs. And if you haven't been tracking it all year long, all of a sudden you can be scurrying. I would advocate the approach of tracking these individual programs all year long. We also use subclasses of fundraising to help our nonprofit clients track specific fundraising events, partnerships, etc. Awesome, Wendy does use classes. Excellent. Yep, beautiful. And you can still have that other field in QuickBooks Online, the locations field, for if the nonprofit has multiple locations or another, it's just another dimension that you can use. Beautiful. All right, super. And and my point here with the class category, if you have it tagged, then you can run a report with it. And even though QuickBooks Online is not as flexible as QuickBooks Desktop when it comes to custom reporting, you can get the information that you need for the statement of functional expenses, even if you have to export it to Excel and wipe the income accounts, or wipe a couple of headers, even if you put a filter on to run a profit and loss by class, that essentially gives you the statement of functional expenses but includes income. Maybe you can put on a filter to only show expense accounts.